Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Frisco Connect. We are currently live streaming, so get on your best behavior. Glad you're here. Thank you for being here. My name is John Luce, and I'm privileged to be part of the team that puts Frisco Connect together. This is our second live session. We began on April 9th, and as far as we know, good Lord willing, that we will continue to do live and live stream in the future. The reason for the live stream is that there are so many things going on as a result of the past couple of years. People have kind of gotten used to being remote and isolated. But as far as building your network, and that's what this is a networking meeting, being face-to-face, shaking hands, exchanging information, having a cup of coffee is a much, much more dynamic way to build relationships. And that's our aim in networking meetings for especially making connections and relationships, beat you to it, Foster, with the word, to landing your next best opportunity. So we meet on the first and third Tuesdays of the month, and we'll continue to do so. If there are 5 Tuesdays in a month, we will not meet on that last Tuesday. And so this is our last meeting in April, and we will meet again on April 3rd. May 3rd. May 3rd, yes. Okay, see, your time warp gets all done, you know. So, since we've had many other people from other parts of the U.S. join us when we were doing it through Zoom online, we decided that live stream would be also beneficial for them, where they can be a part of the plethora of information that gets shared at these meetings. So, tell your friends if they can't make it. All you need to do is go to YouTube and go to the channel Stonebriar Events. That's Stonebriar, Stonebriar Events. And that's where you'll find our last gathering recorded, and where you'll find this one and the ones going forward. We are sponsored by Stonebriar Community Church, where we see our mission as glorifying God by encouraging all people to pursue a lifelong, joyous relationship with Jesus Christ. Put simply, we exist to love God and love others, and we do that through Frisco Connect as a ministry whose objective is to go and be to help the community as we are led, to help them build those relationships and those networks. With that in mind, we're going to open up in a short word of prayer, so if you wouldn't mind joining me. Gracious Father, thank you for all your provision. Thank you for your love and all that you've given us. We're so grateful for that, for the team here at Stonebriar that supports us and puts all the technology together, for the volunteers and the partners we have who meet with us here at Frisco Connect to share their talents and resources. And we're grateful for their time and efforts to provide so many free resources and tools and best practices to those seeking employment to meet their needs and goals. So we know, Lord, that we should be anxious for nothing, because you tell us not to be anxious, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving to let our requests be made known to you. And so we do, Lord. We ask you to use this time to equip others with what they need so that they can go ahead and find employment that will make use of the talents and gifts you've given them and bring you glory through being positive contributors to our society and the benefit of our community. We ask this in the name of Jesus the Lord. Amen. If physically you're a first-time attendee, we have an email group on the groups.io platform. If you didn't when you came in, you can before you leave. There's a sign-up sheet at the check-in desk where you received your name tag. Give us your name and email address, and we'll send you an invitation to join the group. A lot of good information. There's job leads posted on there, as well as activities and announcements relating to employment all the time. There's not a bunch of junk. We ask people who use that platform not to post sales pitches for their cottage industry or their side gig, but legitimate recruiting, maybe presenting an offer that you came across that's not on the job boards, and it wasn't your best selection, and the opportunity is still there and you want to pass it on to others. Things like that. People have been very active on the groups.io platform at the Frisco Connect account, sharing that type of information. So if it's your first time, please go ahead and sign up so you can join that group. A couple of other things I want to talk about is we have another group that meets on Friday morning that was the original version of Frisco Connect about 12, 13 years ago, called Reach Up, Reach Out, reaching a one hand up to God and one hand out to each other. It's a small gathering. That one is online. We do meet on Friday mornings at 7 a.m. And it's helping those in transition by applying and connecting God's truth with all the spiritual challenges associated with job loss and job search. It's led by one of our pastors here at Stonebriar, Steve Fisher, and some volunteers. And we meet as a group to discuss, encourage, and pray for one another as in our walk toward employment. And so we do meet online. And to get that information, all you need to do is go to stonebriar.org, which is the church's website, and in the search term, just put job seekers. And that will take you to a page that talks about Frisco Connect and Reach Up, Reach Out, gives you all the information, gives you the link to the Zoom meeting for Reach Up, Reach Out. And so we encourage you to do that because we know that there's a lot of stress in the world today with everything that's been going on in the past couple of years, as well as what's currently going on. And it's pretty tumultuous out there. One other thing I'd like to make sure you're aware of is that Frisco Connect does have a group on LinkedIn, and there's over 2,700 members. Many of those people are now employed, but they are good people who want to help others and pay it forward. And there's a lot of announcements on there as well as activities, opportunities, workshops, and things of that nature that may be helpful to you. And we have more resources that you're going to hear about this morning from a number of our supporters and partners who are here with us all the time, who are really have a heart for helping other people and paying it forward. So in the next few minutes, you're going to get a lot of that information, and that's why I'm glad it's being recorded so you can go back and go over it on YouTube, and if you miss something, you can backtrack, and you don't have to worry about getting it written down the first time. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to the job father, also known as Foster Williams, who's going to help us continue through the program this morning and provide us with a lot of encouragement and information. So Foster, did you get your microphone working?
I'm trying to figure out how to unmute it. I really don't need this.
No, Jesse unmutes it. All you got to do is make sure the power's on, sir.
Oh, okay.
If press the red button, and if it lights
The
up,
mute is
you're good
off.
to go.
I'm
There you
having
go.
fun with this. Okay, here I come, y'all. So good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good to see you guys. Hey, Todd. How are you?
I
Good.
don't think you're on camera yet.
Huh? Are you? Oh, you want me to come up there, don't you?
Well, no, you don't have to come up here, but if you get to the front of the room, we'll be able to see on.
Yeah, I better get up. Here's the bug and the bee up here. All right. Let me come up here and see what it looks. See what you guys look like from 30,000 foot.
There you go.
Hey, I made it.
All right, brother.
Thanks, John. Guys, I'm going to come back down there. Welcome to, well, oh my God. Oh, is that what it is? Okay. Welcome to Frisco, Connect, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, I'm Foster Williams, and John and I are the creators of this fine organization. What we're here to do is to help you guys in your job search any kind of way we can. My background is a recruiter. Most of you guys know that. So I share what makes sense from the other side of the fence. And we talk about things, we talk about companies. And since this network is 20 years old now, there's many thousands of people that have landed a job that have come through the network. So a lot of times those companies that you guys are looking at going to work for, we already have people that work at those companies. So we reach out to them and say, hey, remember when you weren't in a job search? Remember the help that you got? Let's pay it forward if we can. Now, Pete and I tomorrow at the HR group are going to talk about a lot of etiquette, things that make sense, things that we don't hear people say a lot of. And when we're on this side of the fence, there's a lot that we desire, that job, and we reach out to people and things like that, but there's a way to do that that's proper. And so we're going to talk about that at the HR meeting tomorrow. And so I'm going to introduce you guys to some people. That's why I got to come back down there. I prefer it down here with you guys anyway. And we'll figure this thing out. All right, let's see who I can pick on. I'll pick on Pete first. I've already talked about him, huh? All right, this is Pete Hernandez, fellas. Nah, well, yeah. I'm still getting used to this camera thing, too.
Audience going,
Exactly.
nobody up there, it's just voices now.
You don't have to go all the way up, just, you know.
All right, you guys tell me where to go, so to speak. Be nice, though. If you're going to tell me where to go, be nice. All right.
I thought we did.
Good morning, everybody. I'm part of this network, as Foster said, and I am a retired dude, so I come out to all these different places. Do you want me up there? Okay. Excuse me.
No, you just need to back up.
See if I can do this without tripping. All right. So like I said, I am a retired dude, and I come out to all these different groups and try to help any way I can by connecting you with anybody in my network, by trying to help you, listening to you if that's what you want. If there's anybody that I can connect you with, I will happily do that. And for those of you that may be online and don't know me, go to Pete-Hernandez@outlook.com and connect with me on LinkedIn or send me whatever you need to send me. I'm not a recruiter. I'm just somebody, a volunteer helping out. As Foster mentioned, tomorrow we have our age group. Where did I get that from? Man. HR group. And we're going to be talking about, job search etiquette, networking etiquette. As people come through this network and they land jobs, they're more than happy to help us continue this process because they remember what it was like when they were in these shoes. But also you have to understand that they are now employed and they have all kinds of things going on in their lives. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and what the right etiquette is. So tomorrow, 10 o'clock, we are only on Zoom at this point. The URL for the Zoom is at careerdfw.org. If you go to Wednesday at 10 a.m., you'll see the link there. You just click on that link. There is no registration or anything like that. You can just join us. We have other meetings going on throughout the week. Whatever fits your schedule, please go to careerdfw.org, go to that calendar, and pick out the meetings that work for you. And we have meetings having to do with IT or project management, supply chain, you name it. Find one that speaks to you. There are general meetings like this one today. Thursday, we have South Lake Focus that all newcomers are welcome, regardless of what your background is. And by the way, let me also state that our HR group is an HR group, but anybody in any industry or walk of life is welcome to join us. I mean, we always ask people, what better people to network with than HR people, recruiters, talent acquisition, all people associated with that. We have office managers, administrators, everybody who's worked in either onboarding or anything like that in HR. If you've been a hiring manager, then you belong in our group as well, because you want to learn from these people and you want to know, first of all, they're HR people, they're recruiters, they're going to land somewhere, now you have a great contact. So by all means, join us tomorrow morning if you can. We meet on the first and third Wednesdays at 10 a.m., the HR group. So Foster, it's all yours.
All right, I'm going to introduce you guys to someone else. I want you guys to know how this network works. We talk about the network, but not all of us all the time know the value and some of the things that we can think about in the network. What's that, John? Can you see me? All you guys on YouTube out there, I'm looking at you. Up? Oh, man. Okay. Meg Rose, come up. Come up here with me. I want to introduce you and an idea that you are a good example of. Okay, you guys see this lady? Now, there's a lot of people out there on YouTube. You guys see this lady? This lady was part of the network. She found her job while she was in the network. She met a lot of friends while she was in the network. But here's the deal. She now is paying it forward by networking with us. She has a job, so don't throw jobs at her. She already got one. And she will gladly help network you with anybody that you need help networking with. And she might even tell you a little bit about her company that she works for. Wow. So, guys, this is what this network is all about. We have general networking groups, which Frisco Connect, South Lake Focus Group, and you guys know a guy named Jeff Morris that runs the North Dallas Career Networking Group. Those are general networking groups that we don't all do the same thing. But then, because I'm a recruiter, we started focusing on focus groups. So Pete just told you about the HR network. We've got IT, we've got project management, we've got healthcare, and it goes on from there. I can easily tell you which group you probably fit into that would serve your background. But I want you to meet Meg Rose Quiterio. Can y'all say that? Quiterio. Quiterio. That's how you say that. And I just wanted Meg Rose to tell you a little bit about why she does what she does, and she's got the spirit in her of networking. And she is what we call our hype lady for the Career Search Network. She tells you guys about the CSN and guides you to the right place. Meet Meg Rose Quiterio.
Thanks, Pastor. Hello, everybody. I go by Mez, just FYI, so if you don't who the heck is Meg Rose? I'm Mez online. I'm the hype lady for the Who You Job networking show, as well as a Job Father show. And the CSN. Yeah. Also, I'm a biochemical engineer by education, and I am now an IT project manager, but I was a huge, huge fan of the HR group. So this little peanut of a biochemical engineer, 10 years oil and gas, comes into the HR group, loved it. That was the only group I actually went to. So actually, I'm an alumni of the HR group. What else do you want me to tell? All right, I'm good. Well, thank you and welcome, and let me know how I can help.
Y'all see how easy this networking thing is? It's very easy. Now, Meg Rose is a biochemical engineer. I know you guys didn't think that when she came up here in the suit and everything, but she's smart. She's a whole lot smarter than Foster. So, guys, this is what the network's all about. This is how you get involved. Any network, you guys in Atlanta, same thing. There's nothing different. In Minnesota, Chicago, Phoenix, North Carolina, all of you guys that are part of the Career Search Network, we love you. And it's the same everywhere you go. There's wonderful people you'll meet, like Kat Alexander. Guess what? Guess who just walked in the door? And guys, I want to introduce you. Let's see who else I can get come up here. Bob Ernst, would you mind coming up? I know you're a Navy guy and you didn't fly, but we're up here 30,000 foot right now. I want you guys to meet my friend Bob Ernst. Bob Ernst goes to church here. He is an active member. He does the same thing that Meg Rose does. He's got a job, so don't throw jobs at him. And he is a veteran guy, so Bob, thank you for your service. Bob flew UH-60 helicopters, right? Ooh, man, I got it. I like those. That's my kind of stuff. Okay, guys, I want Bob to tell you a little bit about Bob and what he does.
Yeah, thank you, Foster. As he mentioned, I'm a 28-year Navy pilot and did a career transition, and now I'm a certified financial planner at Edward Jones. Great career move for me. It's a recession-proof industry. I love it. I just get to help people. So if you're interested in that, we're hiring at Edward Jones. I can help you in that career transition and make connections for you there and help you, guarantee you'll get at least a phone interview out of it. Any career transition, we hope you find a job in what you're looking for, but some industries are dying at no fault of your own, so you may have to make a career transition and a pivot. This is the place to do it, so talk with one of us if you're interested in the financial services field. We'd be glad to help you out and help you in that transition. And as Foster mentioned with the relationships and everything, a lot of recruiters reach out to us and to say, hey, if you know anybody looking for this type of job, let us know, and we can make connections there. Last name spelled E-R-N-S-T. Be glad to help you out any way I can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I made a drastic mistake, you guys. Hi, Lourdes. I got a text saying, Foster, you didn't mention the folks in South Carolina. Hey, South Carolina, go Gamecocks. Okay, that's as far as we're going here. All right, so who else can I pick on? Let's see. We took care of that table over there. There is Mark and Trevor, my partners in crime. You guys see us every Wednesday on LinkedIn, the Who You Know Job Networking Show, because it's all about who you know. What you know is important. We can talk about that, but who you know gives an opportunity to tell what you know, and we make that connection. Nigel Fisher is going to be our speaker today. You guys are going to hear a wonderful presentation on how to do this thing and how to get that type of money that we need to get for what does the Bible say? A workman is worthy of his wage. Well, let's figure out what that wage is and go out there and adequately get what we need to get from these companies or anybody that wants to take our time away from our families to help them make money. Well, they need to help us. Okay, that's a little bit of taste of what you guys are going to get today from Nigel. I've known Nigel forever. Okay, here is Trevor and Mark. And I don't know if any of you guys were around. Probably Jesse Esquivel probably might remember. This guy was scared to death when we first started this meeting. And now he has gotten over his fear of public speaking, times 15. And I usually would go to Mark and go, Mark, who's speaking today? And it usually was Mark back then. This is only 4 years ago, you guys. So now I'm giving the mic to Trevor Houston. And a lot of you guys that are looking, a lot of you guys that are out there on YouTube, y'all recognize this face. All right, Trevor, tell them I'm running my mouth. That's what I do. I get paid to do this. Okay, John's saying something. Over this way? And Mark, okay. We'll start with Trevor. Trevor's taller than me, so I'm intimidated. I'm going to give him the mic.
Wow. Well, good morning. Come on, good morning. It's beautiful outside. It's a great day. I'm excited to be with you today. How many of you were at our event on April 6th? Raise your hand. I see Kat over here. Amazing. How was it? Was it good? Well, we got one person here. That's fine. It was a great event. We had an amazing time. We got lots of stuff going on. And tomorrow, we've got an amazing show planned for you guys. Some really cool behind-the-scenes stuff I've been working on. I've been working real hard to put a really nice episode together for you tomorrow. So I hope you can join us on LinkedIn at 3 p.m. You will enjoy it, I promise you. We've got lots of stuff going on. We got free career training. We got our podcast, live events. Our next event is going to be June 8th. So I hope you can all be there June 8th. We're going to be hosting our Career Transition Summit. And we'll also do a live studio audience again at the studio where we record our show. So I'm excited about that. That's going to be June 8th. I'll get more information out to you. You can find everything on this little pamphlet right here. Just scan the QR code or go to our website. And we also have, newsletters, all kinds of different content. I'm always promoting new content all the time to help you guys in your career search. At our summit, you're going to learn some of the best practices on how to get out of the black hole, to get your information seen by human beings, because that's what this is all about. Humans hire humans, not the ATS, right? So we got to get your information looked at. We got to network, because it's not always what you know, it's who you know. And that's what we're going to teach you in our summit, and also the process of the job search Trojan horse, which is going to incorporate using some technology, some video to help you infiltrate that company, get your information inside, and then once you get inside, to make sure that you are shareable and that your information is being forwarded to all the other decision makers inside that company. So you can infiltrate and then take over, right? You can seize the company, make sure that you get hired, you're getting seen by all the decision makers, and so that's why we call it the Trojan horse. So make sure you come take a look inside of our Career Transition Summit. You'll get some more information there. And now I'm going to hand it over to Mark. Here you go.
Thank you. So, sounds very tactical, and actually it is tactical, right? Tactical measures to get landed. So, I want to talk to you about something new. Actually, I want to make an announcement here at Frisco Connect and to our YouTube audience. We have engaged with a lot of job seekers over the time, and one of them has approached us. He's transitioning out of the military, and he is very passionate about giving back. He's really bought into the who you know environment, and we always talk about paying it forward. So we are getting ready to launch a military and veteran-focused podcast show that's going to come under the Who You Know banner in the Who You Know channels. It's called Vet SOS, or Veteran, short for Veteran SOS. And we're going to, in that show, start highlighting resources that can help active duty members transition, because it is a huge transition for active duty members getting out of the service into the civilian sector, as well as veterans who have prior service. The focus is there's a lot of regional groups, a lot of resources and support out there, but unless you're one of those big mainline national veteran-focused groups, they don't get a lot of attention, and a lot of people aren't aware of those resources. So we're going to be highlighting those organizations, bringing subject matter experts and things like that. So if you know active duty members, service members, veterans, be sure to share that information with them. We're going to start marketing that here towards the end of this month. So want to make that announcement. The real reason that I'm here to talk to you is about Easter, right? We just went into Easter. What a perfect example of triumphing, right? Triumphing over adversity. And Jesus was human, right? And so he had human emotions, going through human pain, anxiety, all of those things that he dealt with, we in the career transition community see, right? And you may be experiencing. So I want to just encourage you guys, use that as an example. There's a lot of help out there. We have a financial practice, and it's with NyLife Securities New York Life. That's our broker-dealer. There are a lot of corporate W-2 salaried positions that they're hiring for, more now than I have ever seen. I just talked to the talent acquisition team. She said pre-pandemic, we went from like 125, 150 postings to 550 to 600 right now. So there are a ton of opportunities at New York Life. It's a Fortune 100 company. Again, corporate salaried positions. I would encourage you to go look at newyorklife.com/careers. See if there's anything that you're a good fit for, that you're qualified for and have an interest in. If so, go ahead and apply. And then LinkedIn with me. If you have my contact information already, send me an email. Let us know what you have applied for and a copy of that resume, and we will get it in front of human eyes on that talent acquisition team. So they have committed to us that they will review every candidate that we send through this process. So be sure to let us know on that. come to the summit. You're going to get a whole lot more introduction opportunities into the network. Stay active, stay positive. Those are the things that you can really control. And then also, like Bob had said, that company, 9Life Securities and New York Life, they are hiring for the field and production as well. So agents, advisors, financial services professionals, if you have not explored that, come talk to me maybe during the break and we can have a chat about that, because we can get you a phone interview for sure. We will guarantee that you will get a call if you have an interest in that career field. So yes, John.
Mark, if I apply online for a specific corporate position at New York Life, and then I email you or contact you, what should I include in that contact information? Do the positions have a number assigned or something like that?
Yes, sir, they do. Yes, great question. So when you're applying, there will be a rec number. The job description or the job title is fine, but if you are online and applying, you'll get that rec number, and if you could send that, that would be very helpful, again, along with a copy of your resume. So thank you for that. If you would like to get a list of some of the local opportunities or some of the maybe higher tier management level opportunities, I do have those sent out to Judge, who will talk about the jobs report, but they are in the jobs report, so if you already get that and are subscribed to that, if you're not, number one, subscribe to it and get it, but number two, those lists are at the very end in a link which takes you to the Excel spreadsheet, and all of those positions that I've pasted into there are hyperlinked, so you can just click right on the job title and it will take you to that website. So thank you very much, guys. I want to just encourage you, do what we can to uplift you. You are one conversation away from that next opportunity, so just keep moving, all right? Thank you, guys. Oh. Yeah.
Okay, guys, there is an idea that I've been talking about for a long time. You guys, you leaders in other states that are tuned in, I really appreciate you guys sharing with your networks our activities that we have going on here. And here's one reason why, because a lot of the services that you will see, especially this next one called the PIT Crew, the Practice Interview Team, is something that you guys need to know about, because you can use the PIT Crew, you can use some of the things that Mark was talking about at his company. Wherever you are, you can find out how this job thing works. You don't have to be in Texas. Now, some of your members in your groups can consider a contract in Texas or in Chicago or in Phoenix or whatever. I like Phoenix. Hey, guys. And you know what? The more that we do this nationwide and we talk and we bring leaders and people that are willing to help and share, the better and bigger this network gets. And we want to get somebody in every company out there so that when you guys find a job at ABC company, maybe we have 10 or 12 people that already work there, and somebody that we have Trevor's going to laugh at me when I say this, a relationship that you have taken the time to cultivate. That person will pay it forward like Meg Rose Caterio does. That person will pay it forward. And you know what? When we talk to them, they're willing to help us. And they know what it's all about. Most of the time, they came through the network anyway. So many services that we have in this network are good for a whole, actually, if you're not even in the United States, you can check it out. So Dominique and some of you guys, if you're listening in France, hi, but continue to network with us, especially with me and Pete at HR. Now, this guy here is Mark. Now, his last name you guys recognize in every country, McDonald's. He's not part of that McDonald, but that's Mark McDonald. He's going to talk to you about the PIT Crew. It is the Practice Interview Training, Practice Interview Team. And he's going to tell you all about it and how it grows and how you guys can take advantage of it. You don't have to be here in Texas. Okay, let's hear from Mark.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Foster. So I was thinking over the weekend back on some of my interview faux pas, and I still carry them around with me. These really dumb mistakes I made. And times, where I answered the question and I thought I did really good, and a couple of 3 days later, it's never right away, It's a couple of 3 days later, I say, wow, I didn't answer that right, or I should have said this, or I should have not, I should have just avoided that question. I remember distinctly having an out-of-body experience where I went down a rabbit hole, and so half of my brain was saying, Mark, you got to stop, and the other half just kept going, just couldn't get out of it once you go down it. So these are the kinds of things that the pit crew help you with. We give you a chance to practice in as realistic a situation as we can give you, so you feel the pressure, the desire to do well, and then we see if actually what you said is something that you're proud of. And of course, you'll think about it afterwards, and we'll give you an interview to watch. But that's what we try to do. We try to build your confidence that you can handle any interview situation, and we do that by immersing you in a real-life interview. And so what does real life mean? It means you pick out a job description, something that looks good to you. If you're changing careers, pick out something in your new career. It can be any job. It doesn't have to be an opportunity that you're engaged with. It can just be a good-looking job description. Maybe it's your dream job, and come and practice. We'll give you a chance to convince a group of hiring managers. So all of my volunteers, I have a large group of volunteers, and being volunteers, that means there's no charge for the practice interview experience. But they've all been hiring managers, and they've all been through job transition. As a matter of fact, most of them are currently in job transition, so they're donating their skills as a hiring manager and their expertise to give you an opportunity to convince them that you're the right person for that job that you sent in. So it's a very personalized and customized interview experience. We do it as a panel interview, so there'll be 2 or 3 interviewers. We currently do it on video, so on Zoom, so we can do it anywhere in the nation and even outside the nation. We've done a couple in Canada. I don't think we've done anything in Europe yet, but so those interview slots are available. And even when we start meeting face-to-face here shortly in a month or so, we're still going to have on Tuesdays evenings video interviews. So for those that are out of the area, they have an opportunity to practice with the pit crew. And the video works really very well. The interview takes about 45 minutes at the actual interview time, and then there's a little bit of time at front for introductions, and afterwards 15 to 20 minutes of discussion. So the whole session takes about an hour and 15 minutes. And when you're ready to practice, here's what you need to do. You just need to send that job description and your resume to dallaspitcrew@gmail.com. And if you have any questions, you can email me at that same email, dallaspitcrew@gmail.com. There's also a website, just dallaspitcrew.com, which explains what the schedule is. Okay, so let me cover that briefly. Right now we have 3 video slots. We have one on Tuesday evening at 5 o'clock. We have one on Wednesday afternoon at 1 o'clock and one on Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock. And the Wednesday afternoon one is part of Jeff Morris's Interview Wednesday webinar. So you can observe that online if you'd like to. So it's the very first thing we do. We start right promptly at 1 o'clock with the practice interview on Wednesday afternoon. So if you'd like to observe a practice interview, and you can learn quite a bit from observing, then go to the careerdfw.org website and look on the calendar and go to Wednesday afternoon at 1 o'clock, and that will give you the link to the Interview Wednesday webinar. So that's a good idea, and if you're considering practicing with the pit crew, and you can see how it goes, and you can see the 3 panelists, and it's in a webinar format, so it looks just like it would look if you were engaged in your own private, personal practice interview. So that's the pit crew 2-way interviews. The pit crew also offers 1-way interviews. So if you have an opportunity to, if a company asks you to do one of these 1-way interviews where you just talk to a video bot, it's just recorded, you can practice that with the pit crew. Again, send me an email and I'll hook you up with how we do that. We do use a professional level tool called Easy Hire, so it's very realistic. It's exactly what you'll anticipate. And you can do any of the things I just talked about. You can do it more than once. You can do more than one-way interview. You can do more than one practice interview. Pit crew's here to help. It may take several interviews before you feel that confidence that you can handle any interview situation, and so that's what we're looking for. So come and practice multiple times. The record is 9 times in 1 year, so don't hesitate to take advantage of the pit crew. We're here to help you. Let's see, 2 other things is besides the practice interviews, I also coach a little bit, but I just coach on one question, and that question is, why did you leave your last position? So this is a question you'll likely be asked if if you're unemployed, right? Why did you leave your last position? But you may also have a series of short-term engagements that you need to explain. And so if that's going to cause you any angst, if you have any doubt about how you might answer that question with brevity and confidence, then let's have a conversation and we'll storyboard it. We'll storyboard how you answer that initial question and also any follow-up questions that are generated by your particular situation. So we do that on the phone or we do it on Zoom so you can get a recording. But that's available to you as well. And again, everything the pit crew does is absolutely free. And then finally, I've had a panelist land last week. He landed 2 weeks ago. He started work on Monday. So I'm always looking for additional panelists, volunteers to help others. You don't have to be out of work, but most of you are. And so if you've been a hiring manager, you've got all the necessary prerequisites to be a member of the pit crew and to help people along their journey. And you'll learn a lot as well, giving the interviews, what works and what doesn't work. That'll inform your own interviewing and help you land quicker as well. So that's, I think, everything I need to say about the pit crew, unless somebody has a question. John, did I forget anything?
No, you covered it pretty well.
All right, very good. Where's Foster? Nope, Judge is up next. Okay.
Well, Foster, huh? Yeah, he had to
All right.
take care of some other business. So, thank you very much. You guys do a wonderful job. Mark, we've heard a lot of great feedback about the pit crew, and God bless you for taking the time to do that. It's helping a lot of people out. Well, next we're going to hear from Judge Bugbee. Judge has been a partner and supporter of this ministry for a long time and has done a fabulous job. He's going to tell you about a thing called the job report. And he puts together a comprehensive review of what's happening, and I'll let him get into the detail of it right now. So, Judge, go ahead.
All right, good morning. You know, it was really, where's Mark? There he is. It was really reminiscent because when I walked in here and I saw this table, I remember when Mark asked me to be a volunteer and do the pit crew for one of the groups. And it was probably one of the most impactful sessions that I had, because I can tell you today the questions that I answered as a panelist or as a person being interviewed by the panel, what questions I answered wrong, and it stuck with me. It's like, that's where you want to answer them wrong, at the pit crew. You don't want to answer them wrong during your interview. So the pit crew is a real valuable tool, and I can't encourage you enough to go be a part of that. So my name's Judge, and I published the job report because when I was sitting in your chair looking for my next great job, one thing ran through my head the whole time, and it's like, man, this is a lot of stuff. This is a lot of information, and I'm writing and writing and writing. So what we tried to do is put together a publication that gives you detailed information about every meeting that we're talked about today, all through the next 2 weeks. It's called the job report. And in order to get a copy of the job report, you just email the job report FC for Frisco Connect at gmail.com. Once I receive that, I will add you to our ongoing distribution list. Then you'll get it the Monday prior to every Frisco Connect meeting. So it went out yesterday. If you have not received it or would like to get on it, email me today and I'll add you to the list and I'll send you yesterday's newsletter that went out. It has all of the meeting times, Zoom links, educational sessions that are going on, and then it lists all of the open and active jobs from some of our partners that share open and active jobs they're trying to fill. So again, it's real simple, and if you ever get to the point where you don't want to receive the job report anymore, it's easy. All you hit is unsubscribe, and it just takes you off the list, and you'll never get it again. But it's real simple. It's the easiest thing you're going to do all day. Just email me at thejobreportfc@gmail.com, and you'll get that today. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Judge. And in the subject line, all you have to put is job report. You don't have to send a message, just put job report in the subject line, and that's all you need, right?
All right. So, guys, you guys kind of understand, you guys in other states that are listening, you guys understand what I'm talking about. I want to say hi to Esther Chacon. She is with us right now. Hey, Esther. And you know what? Sharon Luckich, who is usually here with us, she is on YouTube right now as well. Hey, Sharon. I want to tell you a little bit about Sharon's company. Sharon is a principal at a company called the Thomas Edwards Group. If you're in accounting and finance, you definitely want to check out the thomasedwardsgroup.com. That's thomasedwardsgroup.com. Now, they have served their clientele so well, their clientele is asking them for, hey, do you guys recruit in these other areas? Well, these other areas were HR. So they are one of our favorite companies and represented at our HR group. Pete and I will be there tomorrow. And hey, Sarah Jacobs, another Texas A&M grad. I like to make fun of her as I'm wearing my pause for effect. Anyway, if you're in IT, you want to check out the Thomas Edwards Group. There are a number of companies that they didn't expect to be networking and recruiting in those areas, and their company said, hey, do you guys cover this area? So they've got a real good relationship. That's it. There it is, Trevor, relationship. We laugh about that on the Who You Know Job Networking show. But guys, it is about relationships. And another tip from Foster, if you get a call from multiple third-party companies for the same position, don't be alarmed. Some companies, like my old company, Verizon, has a vendors list that'll stretch from here to Seattle. And guys, be very poignant with those questions that you ask those people. Find out if they've got a relationship. That is the company that you want to deal with. If these companies call you and they're throwing money out and all this stuff, try to find out what their relationship is. It's very easy to do. It's not hard. If they have a relationship with that company, you probably won't have to ask a whole lot of questions. They'll explain that to you, and you know that that's probably the group that you want to work with. There are some of the companies that will offer you a higher rate, but if they don't have a relationship, they'll waste your time, and they'll mess up your opportunity for that opportunity, because once they submit you with their name on it, a company, which used to be me, I used to be the gatekeeper of these companies, we can't consider you for employment because you've already come from a company that may not even be on the vendors list. So that's another question. Are you guys on the vendors list for this company? How long have you been working for this company? A lot of questions that you guys can come up with to qualify them as to whether you want them to represent you or not. Okay, I'm going to shut up about all this. So guys, we're going to take about a 5-minute break. We're going to be back. Folks that are here, get yourself a coffee. Folks that are on YouTube, go to your own kitchens and get your own coffee. And we'll see you guys back in about 5 minutes with my friend Nigel Fisher. And we're going to talk about getting that job and getting that pay that you need to be getting, that you may be scared to ask for. All right, see you in 5. These many.
We'll go to get started again. One thing that I forgot to mention, when you're here live, we have some collateral on the tables. There's one piece of paper, it's a white rectangular that says Frisco Connect on it. As I mentioned at the opening, we believe in prayer, and if you have a prayer request for us, you can fill that out and leave it on the table in the back, and it will be held in confidence. And we have a prayer team that will pray for you for your request. Gentleman by the name of Ed Bendlick, who's not with us this morning, he's usually in attendance with us. We will get those to him, and he and the team here at Stonebriar will pray for those. On the other side of that form is a section for some feedback, and we really would like to know what you really think, suggestions, what we did well, what we didn't, what we could improve on. And so if you get any thoughts, please use those forms and fill those out and leave them on the back table, either of the back tables back there, and we will look at those, and if there are prayer requests, we'll get them processed. So I appreciate it if you take advantage of that. That's another reason why we're really anxious and encouraging people to come here live, so we can get that feedback and also those prayer requests, because we know people, there's a lot of them in some pretty tight places, and we want to support them with that prayer. That's all I had to share, Foster, so I can give it back to you.
I'll take it.
Good. You're much more entertaining than I am.
My mom didn't think so. I heard that, Cat. Okay, guys, we're back. We're back. So I want to introduce you guys to a wonderful speaker. This is a longtime friend of mine. I met her years ago in our HR Career Social Network that Pete was telling you was going to happen tomorrow at 10 o'clock on Zoom. Guys, I want to introduce you to Nigel Fisher. She is right down here. Nigel is a leader, HR leader, director, whatever you want to call her. And she worked, I think when I met, I'm going to look at you out the corner of my eye when I say this, but I think I met you right before you took a job down in Waco with Allergan. And then she transferred, she has been in Ireland for how long? Oh, it's been 3 years. It's been 3 years she was in Ireland, and I would call her and I'd say, what's going on in Ireland? Oh my God, I've never been there. Tell me everything about it. Now she's back. I was looking forward to going to Ireland, you know what I'm saying? So, but Nigel is going to talk to us. Nigel and I have had wonderful conversations in the past about getting that salary that we know we need to get. And we're kind of intimidated. We feel like, oh, the job market's messed up. No, it ain't. The job market is prime right now for you to get the kind of money that you need to get. And there's a lot of things outside of money. I can hear you guys thinking already. But the baseline is that salary. Now, I've been a recruiter for 5, 6 years, something like that. I don't know. 500 or 600 years. But guys, there's some things that we need to consider that we are not bold enough a lot of times because we don't have the knowledge of what it is that we can do. So Nigel is real good at explaining some of those things. This will be a very interactive session. I will be checking in the back on YouTube for some of the questions that you guys might be asking on YouTube. And of course, I will ask those questions for you to get your answer. But you guys jump in there. This is Nigel Fisher, and she is the HR lady. Thanks, Thank you. All right. We're going to talk. Oh, that's right. You don't need this, do you? Me and my water are going to go back downstairs.
now. I think we're good. All right. Good morning, guys. How are you? Good. I am Nigel Stokes Fisher. I am an HR professional by trade, but more so than that, I'd like to say the way that I see myself, I am God's favorite girl. So we're going to have an awesome discussion about what it takes to find and then close the deal on the job offer that you're seeking. And honestly, this is a Q&A. So I am not going to stand here and preach and lecture. If you're looking for that, that was on Sunday. You should try Wednesday night or the following Sunday. But we are just going to be honest about the things that we want, and I think it's going to all start with us. You'll see that the agenda for this presentation is very brief because, again, it's a Q&A, and I'd prefer to hear from you and answer your questions because that's exactly what's going to help you in your search. So with that, we'll jump right in. Let's see. And this is it. This is our agenda for today. So where we'll start is we'll talk about the basics of the search. And this is not, I'm not going to share with you how you're going to go online, what you're going to look for. That's not this. I'm going to talk about clarity, and that's all about you. We're going to talk about executive presence and your resume. We're going to talk about personal branding, social media, and LinkedIn, and then we'll chat about your personal affirmations, and I'll share mine so that you can understand what it takes, where you need to be from a mental perspective to pull down the job offer that you're looking for and close the deal. So, you guys ready? Good. All right. So, clarity. I want to start by saying, before you jump out and you start searching and looking for jobs and just applying for everything that's out there, you need to understand what you're looking for. Your job search ultimately begins with you, and it begins with what you're willing to accept. It's about, are you looking for something domestic? Would you like to be international? What percentage of travel makes sense for you? Would you prefer to be remote? Would you prefer to be on site? All of those things start with you. So I would say the very first thing that we need to do is have a razor sharp focus on the type of opportunities that we're looking for. Write it down. I am under the impression, obviously I'm from the old school and I won't age myself here, but if it's not written, it's not real. So just knowing it in your head does not help you articulate it clearly. It does not help you identify the recruiters that will be the best match for you in your search, because as we've heard this morning, everything is about relationships, and it all starts with a relationship. It doesn't matter whether it's a job, it doesn't matter if it's a marriage, it doesn't matter if it's a relationship, it's all gonna be, you have to be very clear about the things that you want, you have to be very clear in defining those, and you have to know them better than anybody else. So, if you're old school like me, sticky note it, put it at the bottom of that computer, put it in your phone, take a screenshot, save it as your wallpaper, look at it often and remind yourself what you're looking for. The next thing is practice your compensation pitch, right? If you ask me, well, what was your last salary? I am not answering that question. If you are executive or looking for a high salary job, you should not answer that question. What you made in the past has nothing to do with today. And for all the young folks who are on YouTube, yesterday's price is not today's price. We need to understand that. And we see that every day when we go to the grocery store. We see that when we look at the price of bread, we look at the price of gas. So it doesn't matter what I made at the previous job. What's really important is what I will work for today. The other thing is, what does that look like? Compensation, more so than it is a salary, is holistic, right? It is benefits, it is time away from the job, it is stock options, it is RSUs, it is 401k match, and we need to articulate our salary in those terms. So, at my last job, the package included RSUs, options, the salary was, and my bonus percentage was. My new opportunity should include RSUs, stock options, a salary of, and 401k match of would be ideal. You need to make sure when you're answering these questions that you are that clear. What we can do when we get to the space where we start to negotiating, and that's not in today's conversation, is talk about how we get all of that to come together. But in the initial conversations, when you're talking to recruiters, and that's their first conversation, that's their first question that they want to ask, is get your pitch together and make sure you're answering in a way where you've checked off every one of these things that are important to you in your response. It's not just a response of a salary of $185,000, because it's not just a salary of $185,000. None of us are going to work for salary only. We're going to work for benefits, we're going to work for vacation, we're going to work for location. There are so many other things that we're covering in terms of what we're going to make in our compensation package that we need to make sure in every conversation that we're listing those things out. So the recruiter is clear when they take your resume back, when they take your profile back. Hi, I have John, I have Foster, and they are targeting a salary of, but they're also looking for a bonus, they're also looking for RSUs, they would also need a vacation that is set here 4 weeks is what they had before, and they would be looking for something very similar, right? So just make sure when you're having these conversations with recruiters that you're very clear about what your compensation package should look like. And let's just normalize that it is a compensation package, it is not a salary. Any questions or?
Yeah. So we're talking to people. Well, it's kind of hard to figure out because it's individual, but the fact, if this job is remote,
Right.
that relates to a certain amount of money that whatever that figure is in our head, how do we go about conveying to them, you don't want to talk about that, but keeping in the back of your mind, hey, I'll take this salary because this job is remote kind of thing?
Well, I think that's a mindset. For me, I don't ever want to give my number first, if I'm being very honest. When we're just having cursory conversations and we're talking to the recruiter, right, I'm not sharing my number. I am asking the recruiter if they have a range. Do you have a range for this position that you have in mind? Yes. Right? Get their range. And they'll say, well, I don't really like to give my number. Yeah, but we're having a conversation. Obviously, you're interested in me for your job, and while I am or am not working, Foster's coming to you,
yeah,
right? The right thing to do is for you to extract as much information as you can before you start sharing what you will and won't work for.
Okay. Oh, it is on. Thanks, Bill. Meet William McLaughlin. He has a question.
So aren't they required by law to give a range if you ask for it? I've been hearing that that is a requirement now in most jurisdictions.
I would say this, right? Proper etiquette is to share that range. It's
because I know in at least a lot of jurisdictions now, it is required by law.
I would say I don't believe we live in one of those. We don't live in a state where it's absolutely required, right? Unless there's a H-1 visa and then it has to be posted with the salary information for a certain number of days. But in your cursory conversation, the person could have just gotten the job. They could have just been talking to a CEO who said, hey, I want a person and I think we'd be comfortable here, right? It might not be nailed down. So I would say just instead of going in and saying it's required by law, because if you do that, if you go that strong into the original conversation, you might put them off. Just ask them for their range or where they might be comfortable, right? And then they'll say, and then you respond in kind, and I'll say, oh, well, I'm in that range. I didn't give my number. I said, I'm in your range. And at that point, it should be the end of that conversation. Yeah. Other questions? No, you're not required to give a hard number. They are not either. And to be fair, you want to operate in the range space, right? You want to know the range, because if you just give a hard number, you'll find yourself stuck to the number that you gave, and they'll tie you in to your number, and you don't want to be tied into the number, because they'll start off saying to you, well, this job is remote and it's this, but it's only a few facilities. What is a few? Is it 1 or 9? And until you interview them, you don't know the number that you will work for. Go ahead.
I knew this was going to be a good conversation.
I have a question. If you are being networked in for a position, an employee said, hey, we have this position, go out and apply for it, so I did. How do you handle on the application? Because that question came up, and it said, what is the range you will accept? And there was a drop down, and it had these ranges. So I looked it up on Glassdoor and chose a range that matched what I saw on Glassdoor. My question to you is, will my application, I was afraid of being discarded by not answering that question. So do you agree that you should answer that question on an online application in that situation, which you have to fill out if you're being networked in?
I would say if it has a red star by it, sure, right? If it's forced, absolutely. If it's not forced, bypass it, or put in, if it allows you to input a number, put in $10, put in $100, right? What is going to stop them from talking to you? You're being networked in, and I wouldn't have a fear of losing an opportunity that's meant for me. You cannot lose anything that is yours, okay? So, and that's the latter part of the discussion, but it's about your personal belief system. How can you lose something that's meant for you? And you've got to walk in the door understanding you're the very best thing that could happen to the opportunity that they have on the table. Right.
One more question.
Sure.
Well, that drop-down box on the application also tells you something about the company, right?
Absolutely.
Because I had to put one number hard onto an application. So I did the research, I put the number. When I had the conversation with the recruiter, she said, "What are your salary expectations?" I said, fair market value, blah, blah, blah. What's your range? And the range was $10,000 more. The low end of the range was $10,000 more than the number I put in. So that tells you something about the integrity of the company, right?
Right.
So that range doesn't always, that number doesn't always end up being the number.
Well, I'm under the impression that if a company really wants you, you could be higher or lower, right? I've always done the right thing. Foster will tell you this. I've worked with Jane. She will tell you this, right? If you come in lower than what I posted a job for, or where I know other people in my company are working for, I am not going to short you. I have no interest in being at odds with God. Just not what I would do. There are companies and people who would do that. I would not. And I would be honest with you and say, hey, you came in a little bit below, so we're going to offer your salary here, and explain that, right? But otherwise, if you have to put something in there, put in something that you can live with if you're forced, but then talk about in those discussions what the range is. And as I've learned more, because remember, in all of the interviews, you're free to ask questions at the end. Hey, as I've learned about the opportunity, I found these responsibilities that were not listed in the job description. I've heard of the possibility of these potential upcoming changes that were not listed in the job description. How does the compensation, right? How can we flex the compensation to match the opportunity that we're now describing in the interviews? Because it's not the one that was originally described in the posting. And you're in the driver's seat on that, right? I don't know, I can't say this for everybody, but for me, I want people around me who are business focused, who are business minded, who are articulate, and I want you to absolutely come and work for me for a salary that will keep you from looking for another job. It does not help me if you walk in the door looking for another job working for me. Yeah. Any question?
You got me? Oh, he's got me. Cool. Okay. I'm going to come up here by Nige when I say this. Hopefully you guys can see me there. So guys, let's talk mindset. And the reason that I say that is because you remember 3 years ago, our mindset was a little different.
Yeah.
Because COVID has changed the way the whole job market goes. And we have opportunities now that we didn't have before. So that mindset, when you are putting into the system your number that you need to go to work for, be honest, guys. Because say, well, I don't want to put that number in. That's where I really need to be, but I don't want to put that number in because I'm scared it'll knock me out. Well, you don't want to be hired below that number, right? Let's be honest. Because these companies, some, not all, some will take advantage of the fact that I can get this person for 100 when I really need to be paying them 130. You know, guys, like Nigel said, you're not going to stay at that job. If you're paying, you know you're worth $130,000 a year and you're working for $100,000 a year, and they're demanding the time that they're demanding for you to get your job done, and you're going through the rigors of the job that we know that we have. Come on, son. Let's think here. Guys, it's mindset. Okay, I'm going to shut up.
No, you're good. I think that's a great point. If we look at what we're seeing from a trend data perspective, right, we're in the space of the great resignation. People are not working for less. We're not working for less. You being at home doesn't make it less work. Don't fool yourself into believing because you can sit at your kitchen counter that there's less work in the job. The job is still the job. The expectations are still the expectations. And with you sitting at home, they're still rather high. Anybody making six figures, we expect a lot from you. All of those jobs require a lot. We expect you to manage conflict. We expect you to be flexible. We expect you to be agile. And so you need to understand that. So please don't box yourself into the thought that because you're working from your own home that you will do less work. You will not. You will absolutely do more work. Being honest, you'll wake up, work a little bit, then you'll say, oh, I'll take a coffee break. I can go downstairs. I can make a sandwich, grab a coffee, then I'll come back. And then some people will say, well, I'll put the kids to bed and then I'll just finish this little one thing because, you know, the computer's right there. So you're actually more than likely going to be doing more work. So don't tell yourself, I need to accept less. You don't. You need to accept what the job is worth, but you also need to match that with what your skills are and your experience, and those things culminated together should define the opportunity and what you will work for. Okay. So let's just talk about executive presence and your resume, right? And this is a big stickler for me. When I say professional resume only, I mean that, professional resume only. We're looking for a six-figure job opportunity. We're talking about $120K, $150K. If you won't spend $600 for your resume, why would I give you $150,000? And I want that to sink in because I want people to be honest. If you're looking for $100,000, why wouldn't you spend $299 for a professional resume? I am an HR person. Foster is an HR person. I am not a resume person. No, I will not do your resume for you. No, I will not review your resume for you. I will tell you about the things that I think you should highlight, but I will not as a means to do it for you to attract your next six-figure opportunity. So this is a part of the investment in self, and I like to say for job seekers, this is self-care. It's just as important as the suit going to the cleaners. It's just as important as being manicured and polished and articulate, the resume. It is the one thing that they see before they see you, before they actually meet you. So this is your door opener. So make sure that you have a resume that speaks about who you are and tells them, gives them some idea of the person that they're going to meet via Zoom or in person. The next thing is your professional presence. Make sure that you dress to match the resume that you present. Make sure that you speak to match the resume that you present. Make sure that you articulate your rationale and your results, because at 100+ K, we're only worried about the results and the outcome. You are being hired because you can deliver results that other people cannot. And please do not confuse that with, oh, I know so-and-so, so I can be relaxed. Foster can get you the call. You will have to sell yourself and close the door. So you need to walk in the door really clear on who you are, really clear on your background, really clear on the results that you can deliver, and then talk through how you've delivered those in the past. The last thing is the attitude of gratitude. Regardless of if it's your opportunities or the person sitting next to you, thank you is always good etiquette. And I like to say within 4 hours. And I also say not a generic thank you so much. No. Pull out tidbits from the interview, tell them you enjoyed speaking about specific things in the interview. It will set you apart, because even if this is not your opportunity, they may know somebody to say, hey, this wasn't my candidate for my job, but I think you should chat with, and they're great because. So make sure that you leave people with a wonderful, right, impression of you throughout the entire experience, and always, always, always say thank you. Yes, sir.
I'm old, but I can move.
So, couple things. Number one, I do believe that the resume is entry piece, right? And it tells somebody that you can do the job. But I think to your point here, there's a lot of people that come into these interviews and, you know, they are not like to the nines, your best foot forward, like that absolutely should be part of it. I think in the context of what the industry is, certainly.
Sure.
But a lot of people go into that. My real, I guess, comment or question is, spot on with the salary and the income, right, and the compensation package, but we do need to know that perception is reality, right? And you have to be confident and bold when you're discussing that. If you go in and they're talking about comp and you're like, 105, you know?
Yeah.
Like that is not gonna work. So I think that, you know, those are definitely huge points that she has made, but you also, it's on you to also present yourself, and it goes right along with this.
Right.
One of the questions that I had is, how much of the resume gets you in, right, in the format, and how much of it is the actual content? So that's one of the questions. And then the other follow-up question to that is, would you use video? Because that's something that we've been teaching, is using video in your thank you as an email video, maybe.
I would absolutely use video. Now, I personally, I'm not a fan of pictures, and hence I'm standing here in a video. So I probably wouldn't, just my personality wouldn't. But I think if it's appropriate and it's you, absolutely. I'm going to tell everybody to be yourself. God made you very unique. It's the reason that no fingerprints are the same. So you're you, I'm me, go in being you. If they bought into your personality and your energy in their interview, take that into your thank you. As far as resumes, right, I'm a stickler. I'm old school. I'm not trying to tell my age, but format is extremely important. Right. Format is extremely important. Justified sentences, the right grammatical punctuation, right, the proper headers, making sure that all of the fonts are consistent, making sure that things are not too spaced out, but then also not too close together is super important. If it were me telling a group, I believe if a group of HR people were telling you, we would say, do not include your picture. It just opens you up for all types of extra things like discrimination. Well, they didn't choose me because I was a woman. Don't do that. Just put your name, put your results, talk through that, and put your summary in there. And I think what's super important is the summary. Who are you? Who is this person? Because that tells them, do I want to talk more to this person? If you just send me a resume and start with your education and all of that, then I don't get a sense for who you are and who I'm going to be talking to, especially if there is no cover letter, right? Where there is no cover letter, include a summary. And there are a ton of resume formats on Canva. Use your picture, use this. Go old school for this. Black ink, you know, regular margins, not narrow, not running off the page, not running off the sides. Just keep it very simple. Arial Times New Roman, right? Bullet points in a square or dot, and just list out what you need to list out. But put that summary in there, and in that space, that's where you be inviting. Where mine would say, probably I think on the last line, I help business leaders hone in on the performance of their most valuable asset, people, right? So put your tagline in there, your belief in there, put your little smart one-liner in there, the thing that makes it inviting and make them want to speak to you. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I love that. I've seen a lot of resumes recently that are just skill set or strengths finders.
Right.
It doesn't tell somebody who you are.
It doesn't. If I say to you that I've worked domestically, internationally, right? I've opened, I've closed plants, I've done all of that. But really what I've done, whether I've helped people out of the organization or in, right, is I've helped them find the things that they're really, really good at. And I like to think that's what I'm good at, is helping you identify where you're going to be good. I grow people, so I'll tell you where I think you need to improve, things that I think you need to focus on and strengthen, right? That's me. But you'll see that in my summary because I said all of that there. And if that makes you want to talk to me, that's what I'm putting that summary together, hoping that you'll want to talk to me and the opportunity makes sense for where I am as a professional. So. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is John Ernett. I've also been a hiring manager. I've also worked with a lot of recruiters and hiring managers, and your resume is your first impression.
Absolutely.
And so I want to reiterate what you've just said. I've worked with many people, if they find any grammatical error or spelling error, they automatically throw your resume out. So this is your first impression. Make sure it's professional, but it doesn't have any mistakes. Second, make sure it matches your LinkedIn profile and it's consistent, because the last thing you want to do is have inconsistencies with the information that you have.
Absolutely. That's an excellent point.
Something to say?
Sure.
Okay. From a 100-year recruiter, I had been a recruiter for 100 years. But guys, let's talk about my other favorite R word. You know, number one is relationship, but number two is relevance. So we want to tell this company wonderful things about us. Let's focus and tell them something about how maybe we got in that area. Why we're here to talk.
Exactly.
What we're here to talk about. Let's talk about, in our explanation of ourselves and what we did and how we got there, the very thing that we're there to talk about. And we take it from there. And I agree with John as well. And I don't want to get myself in trouble when I say this. I want to say for senior level executives. Now that doesn't mean $100,000 a year plus. There are plenty of senior level executives out there that make in the 80s and 90s. But guys, you especially use that spell check. Make sure that grammar is correct. You want me to hire you to lead a division of my company with 30 people in it, and you don't know how to spell manger, you call yourself when you're a manager? Now, I know it's easy to do, but we don't want to see it.
That's it. That's true.
Yeah.
And I think, I'll say this, that's why I invest in a professional. Listen, guys, proofreaders are on Fiverr for $5, for $10. If you're not sure about the format of your resume, if you're not sure that you're presenting yourself in the right light, right, just go ahead and hire a professional, because there are times where we do have to do that. When I don't know something, I just hire a professional, because I say rather than make a mistake, right, rather than have a six-figure opportunity walk out of the door because of a grammatical error, we could have avoided that. And we could be having a meaningful conversation and deciding, is this our next step? But instead, we've been disqualified at the very first look because of an error that we could have avoided. So just make sure that you're crisp in terms of what you're presenting, and that what you're presenting is an accurate reflection of who you are and the professional that you'll bring to the workplace. Okay. So social media, your personal branding, social media and LinkedIn. We just touched on the importance of consistency in terms of LinkedIn and the resume. And then I'll go a step further and say, but it's also important in the interview. However you show up in that resume is how you should show up on social media. It's how you should show up on LinkedIn. It's also how you should show up in the interview. When I think about social media, I have a love-hate relationship with it, right? But quite honestly, I don't need to know anything about you. You're looking for a job. We don't need to understand your personal feelings about all of the situations that are going on right now, whether it be Ukraine or Russia. I don't need to be able to find any of your personal commentary on that, right?
What about the brand of cigar that I smoke?
Nope, don't need to know that either. And I don't want to see it in your LinkedIn photo, if I'm being very honest with you. Have no interest in where you ate dinner last night and any of that. So before we start our search, right, for a job, we're a professional. We're looking for a professional opportunity. Make sure that your personal pages are private. And make sure that you update your settings. So if you know that Foster is in your network on Facebook and he's also a recruiter and you want to talk to him, you might want to hide certain posts from Foster. You might just want to go right up to your settings, update those and say, all of these people are my friends, but they're also in my professional network. I want to hide these types of posts from the Fosters of the world, because right now I'm actively seeking a new opportunity. And I don't want to have to explain that in an interview why I posted about my feelings on the Ukraine or Joe Biden or Donald Trump or, you know, the new justice of the Supreme Court, right? I don't want to have to do that. So go through your network, and I know it's painful because it is. If you've got 500, 600, 1,000 friends, it'll be hard for you, but it'll be worth it. Trust me, take the time to go in and update your settings and your visibility preferences on the posts that you make. The next thing is, when I think about LinkedIn, your first image, the first place that I should see you, should be LinkedIn, professional headshot. Professional resume, professional headshot, and it goes right into professional presence. The next thing is your LinkedIn comments, your articles that you post, things that you share, professional commentary. Regardless of what you think or what people do these days, LinkedIn is a professional networking platform, heavy on the professional. It is not for you and your friends to catch up about your dog. It is not for you and your friends to talk about their wonderful, lovely kids. It is not for that. It is professional. So make sure that your commentary there is professional. Make sure that your profile there is professional. And make sure there is consistency between the resume that you present, the profile that we see on LinkedIn, and your presence in your interview. Okay? And next, save the best for last. This is the last, and this is the best part of the discussion for me. It's your belief system, your personal affirmations. So it's really not important, and I'll just say this, right? This is a bit of my own story. It's really not important what people think about you. I am a brown girl from Mississippi. I certainly should not have been in Europe, and I certainly should not be standing here except for God breathed on me, and that's just the truth. But it's really not going to be about what Foster thinks about you. It's really not about what your peers think about you. It's all about the messages and the things that you tell yourself. So it all starts with you. Your job search is going to start with how strongly you feel like you're worth the opportunity that you're targeting. And we need to be very clear on that. You need to affirm certain things in yourself. You need to have certain levels of certain confidence. You need to walk in, as our friend said, and not be shy and not be timid, not be hemming and hawing about the numbers that you'll work for. You need to know those things, and you need to believe that you have a right to deserve those things. And this is the type of opportunity that I want. This is the type of opportunity that I deserve, and this is the type of opportunity that I would be best at. So make sure that you're really clear on your why. The next thing is, right, the next thing is what did you write down? Because we talked about starting with writing down. So because I might not be fully ingrained in my affirmation, I wrote it down. We talked about taking a picture. We talked about putting it on our phone. And we talked about continually rehearsing it and reminding ourselves of what the opportunity is that we're targeting and what we deserve, right? That's the other thing. The more that you read it, the more that you see it, the more that you review it, the more that it becomes your truth. And the more that you will turn away and say, no, that's not right for me. I don't feel like that's right. So what will happen is your situation, the more that you focus on your affirmations and your belief system, the more you will say, my situation won't dictate me accepting something where I'll be sitting in a desk and still looking for a job in 3 weeks. Yes, I accept an opportunity and I'm telling the group that I've landed, but it's not ideal for me. It's less money than I'm worth, and I'm still seeing everybody else that does what I do go out and make $30,000 more than me, so now I'm unfulfilled. So I want you to be super focused on the opportunity that you deserve, super focused on what you're willing to accept, and then knowing that you need to accept what's right, if that makes sense. With that said, I'm going to share a couple of things with you because I think they're really, really important, and they were super important for me. So, and in this moment, I'll just tell you my own personal story so that way you understand how to use these things, right? I came back from Europe last May. I left Allergan last January, and I said, okay, I want to take some time because it's been a pandemic, so I'm going to hang out with my friends in Europe for a bit, and then I'll go back to the U.S., so I did. So I came back last May, and then around December, I thought, okay, this is an incredible, amazing gap year, but I'm ready to start looking for a new opportunity. As I started to look, I found 1,000 things that weren't for me, right, and a very few things that were. And so then I said, okay, I think I'm doing this wrong. I need a little bit of help here on how to zero in and focus. And what I did is started to say, what do I want? I want to be remote, yes. Well, Jesus, takes about $200,000 for me. And I know that's a lot for a lot of people, but that's what it takes for me. So I wrote that on my list. The other thing was, well, I came from this place where vacation wasn't limited by seniority or tenure. It was just, hey, if you need to be on vacation, let us know, and as long as the work is done and the results are there, we're fine with it. I'd like to go back into one of those situations, and that was a big deal for me, right? So I put it on my list. Then I started to say, well, I had these RSUs and these stock options. I'd like those again because they just help my kids, not eat, bologna and ramen noodles. So I'm going to need that, Jesus, right? So then I thought, okay, these are the things that I need, and I'd like a decent, generous 401k match because it just shows me my value to the organization in terms of the organization's overall result. So I put that on my list. Finally, I said, all right, this is the opportunity I want. Remote, I'd like not to have to leave Dallas. I want to go back to Europe, but not right at this moment. So I put all those little things on my list. Then I said, what does God's word say? How can I affirm this, the continuity between what I'm asking for, what I believe? What does his word say about this opportunity? So then I wrote down John 15 and 17. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. Then I wrote down Matthew 18:19. Again, I say to you, if two or more of you agree, ask and it will be done for them by the Father in heaven. So then I said, all right, let's look a little further. John 14:13. And it says, I will do whatever you ask in my name. This I will do so that the Father may be glorified and celebrated in the Son. Then I said, okay, now I need my affirmation because these scriptures are going to support what I'm asking for. And I said, I am happy and grateful that I am employed at blank is there. My position is 100% remote with a salary of, insert your own, and a bonus of, insert your own, stock options and benefits and a generous PTO. That is my affirmation. Took a picture of it, put it on my phone, and then when it started to get rough and I wasn't really seeing any traction on it, I said, okay, there's an organization called Silent Unity that's been around for about 137 years. And if you're a Bible Belt Christian from Mississippi or somewhere in the South, you're familiar, old ladies with prayer closets, right? But you call them up, you give them your affirmation, put your name on the list, and they'll pray with you for 30 days. So those are my 2 or more. So the silent faith is important because if you're in the situation that I'm in, I don't want to be negative to you or discourage you or to say you're shooting too high, right? I just go get my silent prayer partners and work on my affirmations. First, I work on myself and the message to myself, and then I have them support me and uphold what I'm saying. And lastly, I say, I am God's favorite girl. He will always bless me and provide for me, and he grants me the desires of my heart because they are not selfishly motivated. He aligns and connects me with the right people because all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord and are called to his purpose. And so for me, it's that. It's deeper than just going out and getting a job. The last thing I want you to understand is this journey, your journey and what you're doing is all about the people that you will help. It is all about the people that you will impact. It is never, ever, ever about you. And you need to walk away understanding that this is not about you. So if you want the opportunity for you, if you don't want the opportunity for the people that you're going to touch and the lives that you're going to change, then you're doing it for the wrong reason. So start by adjusting that before you adjust any of these things or touch on any of the things that I've presented here today. But I hope that that helps you target your opportunity and pull it down, actually, the one that you need. And in February, I got serious about the job. In March, I got 3 offers. And next week, I'm going to start my new opportunity. I won't share the company until I'm there, but until next Monday. But then I'll start my new opportunity, and it's everything I've asked for and more. So I absolutely know it can be done, and this is not God's first time. So.
I want to talk about something.
Go ahead.
Okay. Good. Bill saw me coming. All right. Guys, hey, Mark, before you get away, would you mind coming up real quick? I think you guys got a feel of Nigel as a person. Nigel, there's a lot of Nigels out there. They're not as good as Nigel, but there's a lot of Nigels out there in which we hire people that are crisp and know what's going on. Did I say we? I'll try to be like her anyway. But guys, Nigel gave a thumbs up for the idea of a video thank you. We have, or Mark and Trevor are more involved than I am, we have a workshop in which we teach principles and how this works, how to set it up. Oh, I didn't think about that. And Nigel, as sharp as she was positive on that idea. So I told Mark to come up here because, Mark, I want you to give a quick, if you would, a quick snapshot of what that is and how people can get involved. Yeah.
So, yes, that is something that we have taught now for actually a few years. Surprisingly enough, when people come through our summit or our workshop, we always get that eyes wide open, like, wow, and it's several years old, which is a little funny to me because it really hasn't gotten the traction. And, you know, we're a small community, the Who You Know Network, and we're not, you know, at the national scope, so maybe that's part of the reason. But what I will say is, to your question, Foster, we use a solution called BombBomb, okay, B-O-M-B, B-O-M-B. There's a lot of options out there. There's Vimeo, there's YouTube, there's a lot of options that you could employ to leverage that as part of your differentiation. And so I would encourage you, if you have not, your next interview, your very next interview, and I don't care if it's a phone interview, I don't care if it's in person, your next engagement with a hiring professional, I would like to encourage you to leverage that and utilize a video thank you in your email. Now, BombBomb is very nice because it's all built in. They actually have a free version, a trial version that you can get started with. I think it's 14 days. So you could do this with no expense to you, but a huge impact to your search. And not only that, to your character. Yes, sorry. Oh, so just to complete the thought before we go to a question is, you also, with BombBomb at least, can get tracking. So you can see when somebody has opened it, played the video. A lot of times what will happen is somebody will send a thank you follow-up email, and that gets forwarded throughout the company to all of the people that are involved in that hiring process, and the people are getting these analytics, and they see all of these opens and all of these watches of their video, so they know. That is important because it is an opportunistic time as well to follow up while you are top of mind, because now you have seen, oh, they just opened this video, just got opened and played, I can follow up and just coincidentally, right, establish a new contact with them or re-engage there. So I would definitely encourage that. So, thank you.
Tell them about how they share those videos, how companies, when you send a video to a person, then they share it through the company because it's such a wonderful idea.
We have seen this work to the extent where, just like I had said, where they're forwarding it, they share it throughout the company. They say, hey, look at what we've got, look at this candidate that we've gotten, and it goes viral inside the company because they're so excited about this engagement that they've just received that nobody else is doing. And that's to my point where we've been teaching this for what, 3-4 years now? And still people just are so excited when they receive it and when they get the results from it. So definitely encourage you to do that. And if it's not for you, I get that, right? Some people are a little bit more reticent to put themselves on a video, and you know, maybe it's oh, I don't feel like or maybe I'm maybe older and I don't want to show my age. But to that extent, and I will address that too, because what better way to show that you are adaptable, right? If you feel like you are a recipient of ageism, put yourself out there and show them that you're adaptable. Show them that you're doing things that millennials are not, right? So it can be a great tool in the right application.
Thanks, Mark.
Answered my question, but it is about age. If I'm a woman of a certain age and my first screen call has been with a recruiter who is much younger with me, but it was a very positive one, I'm not sure I want to send that video until I've been on the Zoom interview with the hiring manager. I don't want to knock myself out until after you've already seen me.
I think that's okay. when you look at your resume, if you're worried about age, right? Because even at this point, I'm worried about it, right? I'd have to say I graduated, university in 2003 and put those numbers on there, and it looks like you're far removed. So they're trying to figure out how old you are. Remove the years on your resume. Just remove the years, right? When you got your degree, you'll do that when you actually fill out the application and you're going through the background process. On the resume, you don't need it. You need years for your most recent employment. You don't need it for certifications. You don't need it for education. Just remove it. And just use those little tips to make sure that you're not falling in that trap, or the employers, not falling in that trap. But if you really feel uncomfortable about it, then just wait and deploy those tools where they make sense for you, because it is, again, your search. No problem.
Okay. Lourdes in South Carolina, I'm going to ask your question. I want to ask it while Nigel is here. So, because we have been hiring managers, and we think the way we do, whatever that is. But, when, guys, we're in an interview and we are not keeping eye contact with Nigel, I'm telling Nigel something and I'm looking all on the floor and looking all over here. Personally, I don't think that it is as impactful. I want to hear what Nigel says about that, because I know Nige very, very well. And she is tops at what she does. I'm not just saying that because she's my friend. She really is. And I'm curious to see what you think when people are not keeping eye contact, or if they're not smiling or projecting confidence in what they're trying to tell you.
I feel weird about that. I think we should be confident. I think we should maintain a level of eye contact. But then we also should be honest about our interview style. If you're interviewing with me, I'm going to tell you I am going to write all over your resume, all on my notepad. And so I'm going to say, and even in the Zoom, I'm going to say, hey, this is my pen and my notepad. I'd like you to see it, because if you see me looking away from the camera or looking down, I'm writing. If I'm interviewing, and Foster and I are doing it, I might say, as we go through this, if we have a question or something comes up, right, because we're rotating questions in this sequence, I might tap him or interject something if it's okay. I believe the interviewer, and this is the onus of the interviewer, especially if they're a really good one or, seasoned one, they should be sharing what their interview style is. Don't you think, Foster? Yeah. They should be. If they're not, in the very beginning, ask what you can expect. And then share your style. Say, hey, I typically write notes, so you might see me look down or look away on my notepad. What's your style? That way we just don't have any crossed wires. If you find people in an interview who are being avoidant, you don't feel like they're being forthcoming or they're hemming and hawing, that should be a red flag for you. In the opportunity that I just accepted, right, with the 3 offers on the table, the reason I took the one that I did is because in the 8 interviews, all of them virtual, they were the most consistent in the message about who the organization was. So again, I'll caution you to not take the job for the sake of having a job. Find the opportunity that truly resonates with you, from the organization's values and their mission and all of that. Don't just go out here and take a job, because to be fair, you cannot just work for anybody. And no better way than to accept the wrong job and find that out that way.
Oh, I thought you had a question.
No, but I will say something.
Okay.
To that point, it's an excellent point that you make. A week ago Friday, I had to turn down a position that was a second position that they brought to me that they had created due to my background. And during, I think it was the 8th interview with the former CEO, I had to say, I could learn this job and I could do it very well, but I'd probably rather be poked in the eye with sharp sticks. And it wouldn't serve you well for me to come into a position feeling that way.
Right.
So it's not an easy conversation to have, and please believe me, it was not easy to turn down a very good paying gig, because I need one right now, right? But it's got to be as good of a fit in my life as it is in theirs, as I am for the organization.
Absolutely.
Or it's not going to be a happy partnership moving forward.
Absolutely.
So I love that you made that point.
I think we need to be clear that job seeking is not for the faint at heart, right? even in the fact that you are not currently employed, there is still a level of confidence that you have to have. You've got to look at your resume and say, I have all of these skills. This is me, right? You can't walk in saying, oh my God, I need a job. When am I going to get it? And you can do that because everybody's going to have that fear, and people will do that in their own private time. But being honest, when you walk into the situation where you're saying, you know what, I want the universe to bring me, because we're asking the universe to open up something for us, you have to walk in it with a level of confidence, with your head held high, and honestly knowing who you are and what you've doing and what you can bring to the table. But doing it with your head down and saying, I just got to have a job, you're going to find a job, but you're also going to be miserable. I'd be willing to bet you'll be back looking for a job in less than, 3 months. Hey, John.
Yes, Nigel, you made a comment earlier about the consistency of the mission statement of the offer that you accepted. I may have missed, I've been running around back here, so I may have missed this, but the other part is, in being confident, is doing your research on the company. And I've often thought that if you've got a position at an organization that you seriously want, and it really touches your spirit that this is the one I want to go after, you need to look up their mission statement and kind of memorize it, and then ask them, because I always think that in an interview, people feel like they're on the defense, when actually it should be a two-way conversation. You should be interviewing them as well. Absolutely. And ask them what their mission statement is, and see if they can touch it. Because I know a lot of people, a lot of employees at a lot of organizations, especially large corporate entities, the mission statement's there, but you can ask people even at the C level what the mission statement is, and they can't tell you.
Absolutely. I think you bring up a great point, John. If you're sitting, we're targeting high-level job offers. You're sitting with directors and vice president that cannot recite the mission and the values of the organization, you're in the wrong place. You are in the wrong place. They are not living what they speak. And that is a problem, especially if you're passionate about what you do, you're passionate about your reputation. My reputation is important to me. I want to be aligned with the right people. I want to be with the right opportunity. I want to be in the right place, and I want to make an impact. So if you're just doing it for a paycheck, if they're just doing it for a paycheck and the organization's values and missions don't resonate with them, I'm going to say get up and leave, because John is absolutely right. You're interviewing them. You're not just being interviewed. When you get your 15 minutes at the end, ask them their why. Why are you here? Why did you accept this opportunity? One of the ladies that I interviewed with had just come online. She just started 2 months ago, and I asked her why. Out of all of the jobs that she took, why, or the jobs that she interviewed with, why this one? And you know what? She had a really good explanation for why the company resonated with her. And it's part of the thing that persuaded me. So make sure that you use your 15 minutes. We're going to ask about benefits. You can ask them to send that to you in an email, but use those 15 minutes wisely to ask your questions and to understand the fiber of the organization that you're looking to partner with. Yes, ma'am.
I don't always ask all of them, but yesterday I had a really good conversation with a hiring manager. We got to the question part. I asked her something similar to that, and I'm like 5 or 6 or 7 questions in. We wrap up, and then she says, do you have any more questions? And I'm like, no. I mean, what's the right way to answer that? I mean, it wasn't initially. I did have questions, and I did ask them, but I always feel like I'm not supposed to say no to do you have any more questions. So how do you?
You can say no, or you can say, I would say, not at this time. However, I'd like to reserve the right. If I think of something, would it be okay if I send you an email?
Okay, because it was about 10 minutes of me asking questions.
Right. So, but it's your time. Understand that it's your time, and it's your opportunity to find out as much as you can about the organization that you're going to partner with. You own that 15 minutes. It's yours, right? If you have more questions or none at all, it's fine. But always leave it open-ended. And I'd say this for anybody, whether you really have questions or you might think of something, leave it open-ended where you can come back. Would it be okay if I sent an email? If I think of something in a week, or once I go through these other Zoom calls, because you're going to have 2 more sets of calls, right? You might think of something and want to circle back and just make sure that you leave it open.
And an unrelated question to the thank you follow-up. If the recruiter doesn't give you the hiring manager's email, can you direct message her on LinkedIn and say thank you?
I would not. I would send it to the recruiter. Please pass along my thanks to.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
Unless she says, oh, feel free. Unless the hiring manager says in the interview, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Some have said that to me. So if they say that, do it. But as a matter of etiquette, just send it back to the recruiter and say, please pass along my thanks. Thanks. Trust me, it'll get there.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bill. Oh, there I am. Okay. Okay, guys. Lourdes, I'm going back to our conversation yesterday. Guys, when you turn on the TV now, you see all this stuff going on in this. We're not completely post-COVID, I guess, are we?
No.
Yeah.
No.
But anyway, we always say that this world has changed quite a bit in the last 2.5 years. Okay. We see all this stuff that isn't very palatable. This is the world that we live in. Hate to say it kind of thing. But guys, our mindset with corporations is very important. And we need to do exactly what John was talking about. Interview those companies. Don't just take a job. Interview those companies. Find out what you're plugging yourself into as best you can. Here's the long and short of it. You see this job posting, it looks good, you get excited, but you never worked for that company before, right? You're going to talk to somebody that has worked for that company. Hopefully, they've been there 5, 10 years, something like that. Don't be reticent to ask those people very probing questions, just like Nige did. What made you choose this company? What excites you about it here? And then consider what they're asking you to do. Consider what that job is that they're trying to hire and how it fits into the schema of the company. Those are other questions you want to have. In other words, have a conversation with that company. Find out about them. I'm the best candidate. I think I'm the best candidate. I've been recruiting for, I almost stole y'all. But you know what? I want to know about you guys. I turned down a large consulting consortium right here in Dallas, very large. Everybody knows about it, and I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to slander. But they were going to tie Foster's hands with, basically, I envisioned it as handcuffs on me to be able to do the very thing that they were asking me to do when I told them how I was going to do it. And my boss that referred me from Verizon told his buddy, this is Foster. And you guys, he's going to ask you questions that's going to make you uncomfortable. And guess what? I did, because I want to know what I'm getting myself into. After all, my dad was a pastor, right? So I want to know what I'm getting myself into, and I can get a gauge for how me as a person in that position might look forward to, can I do this? Can I consider doing this? Should I ask this? That kind of thing. In my examination of that company, trying to figure out what it is that they are, because that's very important. The long and short is, interview those companies, guys. Figure out what it is as best you can. Figure out what it is that you're plugging yourself into. As you build your network, Foster's got a big network. Kat Alexander's going to call me and say, Foster, who you know over there? I'm not going to introduce Kat to somebody that I'm just connected to on LinkedIn. I'm going to connect her to someone that I have a relationship with. Well, I'm going to talk to Nige, because I know Nige is going to tell me what the world is going on. And you know what? That's what we want. Now, I'm going to wrap up time. Nigel, is there anything else you want to say? I don't want to cut you off.
No, I don't have anything else to say. I will just echo what you just said. You have a network on LinkedIn for a reason. If you see a third, second connect, and you're looking at an opportunity and you've interviewed and you kind of have a great feel for the opportunity and you say, I just want to know a little bit more, feel free to reach out to those people. They might ignore you, but they might actually respond, and it'll be interesting what you find out and what's resonated with them about the company and the opportunity that they have. So,
most of the folks I reach out to, I help them get their job. Kat Alexander. Kat's going to get a job. She's going to be a hiring manager probably when she gets a job. I'm not going to be scared to reach out to Kat and say, hey, Kat, I met this lady named Deborah Baker, and I want to introduce you to her because we're thinking about this, and she's interested. Hey, I feel as though I can reach out to Kat. I made a relationship with Kat while I had her. In fact, she never gets away from Foster. She's probably like, oh, my God. But that's what it's all about, guys. Network, network, network. Make friends with Jesse Escovel and his wife. I've had both of them. So I got a relationship that exists there. All right, y'all. I'm going to shut up. John, it's time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just about time. And to summarize what y'all have been talking about for the last few minutes, remember, you're not in an interview from a position of weakness. You're in an interview from a position of power. Never forget that. And you have the sovereign God of the universe backing you up.
You do.
So, yeah, we're pretty much running out of time. And thank you so much for your presentation. It was really, really comprehensive. We appreciate that.
Thank you, John.
So, we're going to meet again on May 3rd. I think I put it up there right. Last time I had the wrong date on there. So thank you very much for being here. For those of you online, thank you for your time. If you missed anything, the great thing about the YouTube recording is that you can go back and review, make notes, make copious notes, and take what you like and leave the rest. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time. So until then, God bless you all.
Absolutely. Like Nigel with us.
Foster, you can share my contact. You can share the presentation for you.
Tell them how to contact you.
Well, I don't know if okay. So just wanted to say, guys, feel free, John, to share my presentation or my contact details with the group. That's absolutely fine. And I am on LinkedIn as Nigel Stokes Fisher, so if you're looking for me, you can find me there.
Okay. All right.